Good morning, y'all. So I just want to talk about this. Stop gender bashing. You see, this is something I see many people do nowadays in society, and sometimes I just can't stand hearing it because it's nonsense that people are saying, and it just shows where people's mentality is at, and it shows what type of people are dealing with in their personal lives. You see, in today in society, I see this often. You got men talk about all women are no good. We got men talk about they going their own way. They're not looking to get married. They don't want to have no children. They just stay to themselves. And you got the opposite. You got women talk about all men are not good. All these men are players. I even heard some women say that once a man reaches like over 21, there's no faithful men. That all men are just players and there's no faithful men past 21. They all cheating. That all these men are cheating. They're players and they all got other women on the side. And I just want to talk about this real quick. You see, the main reason why a lot of people say this is because number one, it's due to hurt. A lot of people they got hurt. They got trauma from their past that they've not been healed from. They've got trauma from their past. They've probably been heartbroken. You got men who've been heartbroken by numerous women. You got women who've been heartbroken by numerous men. And so instead of working on that trauma and looking to move on from it, instead of going to God and asking Him to set them free and getting deliverance, they instead just turn to bash the opposite gender. They instead turn to bash the opposite sex. Instead of evaluating where they went wrong. Instead of evaluating what type of partner they picked. You see, I'm gonna work on the woman first. You got women talk about, oh, all men are not good, they all players. Well, for all you women who say that, I just want to say, what type of men were you dealing with? And what responsibility did you play in that part? You see, if you know that man was a player, if you know he was the type to cheat, if you know he was the type to where he got various women around him, then why would you take up that relationship? Why would you go with the man who you already know was lustful from the beginning? He got lust spurts in him, and yet you still took him up. You knew this man was not no real God-fearing man, but yet you still took him up. You met this man at a club, at a bar. What do you expect? How many good men do you know go to clubs and bars? Very few, especially if they're not God-fearing men. You see, a lot of you women, you guys be going to these places, like these bars and these clubs, talk about you looking for a man and all this. What's the majority of men? 99%. I'm just going to give her this an estimate. At least 90%. It's definitely more than that, but at least 90% of people who go to those bars and clubs who are men, they players. They players. They're just looking for one night stands. They're not serious. They're just going to probably have you as one of their side women. And you see, you guys play some fault in this because instead of you guys waiting on God for your God ordained spouse, instead of you working on yourself as a person, waiting for God to send you a spouse, you going out doing things on your own, and what makes it worse is the environment you guys are going to. You go into a bar looking for a man to marry. You looking for a marriage material man at a bar, at a club, at a place where people are drunk and partying, all type of stuff, dancing one another. What do you expect? You know you're gonna run into men who are cheatful, who are cheating and players, and that's not on men as a whole. That's on you. That's on the man that you dealt with. That's on you as a woman for dealing with that type of man. So that's really your fault, to be honest. That's no one else's fault. That's on you because you see, people make these accusations, all this, but they never take responsibility. They don't even know what they doing. They don't even know. They don't even examine themselves as a person to see why they even got with that person. They're just quick to just blame the other gender. Now we're gonna get to these men. You got men talking about all women are not good. These women, they not faithful. They lustful. They got other men in their side. They got 20 other men they dealing with. These women, they ain't no good. I'm going my own way. I'm not getting, men talk about they not getting married. You got men talk about they don't want no children. Listen, number one, for all you men who say this, number one, you say that you don't want no children, you going your own way. Number one, for you to be fully celibate, you have to be like Apostle Paul. And there's very few Apostle Pauls walk around this earth. Many of you men, you already know you cannot handle that. So if the fact that you're saying that is already lies. Because very few men can handle being celibate for the rest of their life. Because if you do all this stuff, like watch pornography and masturbate, all you do is you're just going to lead yourself into sexual immorality and lead yourself to hell. Because the Bible makes it clear that's better to marry than it is to burn with lust. So that's number one. Number two, as a man, you also got to examine yourself, just like I told a woman. What type of woman were you dealing with? Were you dealing with a God-fearing woman, or were you dealing with the woman who from the streets? Were you dealing with the Proverbs 31 woman, or were you dealing with the woman who likes to go to bars, who got all these half-naked pictures on Instagram, who got thousands of followers on Instagram, and yet all her pictures are provocative. All her pictures are promiscuous. You know that woman been like 30 with 30 other men, and yet you still chose to take her up. You know the other woman, you know that woman you were been with so many other men, yet you still chose to deal with her. You know she was promiscuous from the beginning. You know she was not that faithful from the beginning. You know she the type to where she can't be trusted. You know she the type to where you always gotta have your eye on her. And yet you still took her up. So is that on all women or is that on you as a man? See, that's your responsibility as man that you took up that type of woman. You gotta take responsibility for your actions. You see, instead of you waiting on God to send your God-ordained wife, instead of you seeking that God-ordained Proverbs 31 woman, a real God-fearing woman, you take a woman who come from the street. So what do you expect was gonna happen? Of course you're gonna have those type of problems. You see, you talk about you want to fight, you want a good woman and all that. Some of you men, then when these women hurt, you talk about, oh, there ain't no good woman around. No, 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 that's just a woman that you dealt with. That's the woman that you chose to deal with. Because let me tell you something. A lot of you men be trying to deal with these women who go to these clubs and these bars and these women who like to party. Those women are worldly women. So what do you expect dealing with the worldly woman? You're going to have nothing but problems. You're going to have nothing but headaches. You're going to have nothing but them cheating on you, them having other men on the side. So what do you expect was going to happen to you? But let me tell you something. Real good woman, real God-fearing woman, you know what they are? We know what they are? They're not at no clubs. They're not at no bars. They're not at the latest party every day, every Friday night. They're not at the party that's happening every Friday and Saturday. You know what they are? They're at home. They're home probably taking care of their business. They probably got their careers. They probably in school. They probably at a library reading a book. They at church. They at places getting stuff done. That's what real God-fearing women are. That's what real good women are. And when I say good, of course, none of us is good, because the Bible makes it clear that there's no one good except God. But you get the point that I'm trying to make. A real God-fearing woman, they at home. They not at no party. They not at no club. They not at the latest bar getting tore up from the floor up. They not getting drunk and smoking and drinking and all this. They're home gaining knowledge, seeking God. They're home working on themselves. They're home trying to better themselves as a person. But you see, a lot of you men, a lot of you men don't want this type of woman. Cause a lot of you guys claim that they're boring. You guys also have this mentality that they know fun. So you guys choose to deal with these worldly women, and these worldly women hurt you. Then you cry and complain that all women are not good. It's not that all women are not good. It's just the fact that you took up the wrong set of women. You took up women who are the wrong crowd. So that's your fault to blame as a man. You see, when you gender bash, all you're doing, you're just putting a curse over yourself. The Bible makes it clear that life and death is in the power of the tongue. So if you claim all men are not good, if you're a woman, if you claim that all women are not good, if you're a man, all you're doing, you're just going to keep, number one, you're just going to keep attracting the bad opposite sex to you. You're going to attract nothing but bad, unfaithful partners to you, because words have power. You see, demons, they listen. And when they listen to your words, if they see you speaking death over your own life, the kingdom of darkness is going to draw nothing but dark people to you. They're going to draw nothing but demonic people to you. Just like how a person could speak life over their lives, that's what a person can speak over their lives. A person can speak darkness. You over at gender bashing, then you're going to be crying when you're 50, 60, and 70 and no wife if you're a man. When you're 50 and 60 and 70 and you have no husband as a woman. I believe one time I heard on the internet that there was a woman who worked at a nursing home, and she saw so many men who were in their 40s and 50s and 60s by themselves, and she was ask them, like, where's your wife? And these men used to be like, well, I used to play around when I was younger, and now I ain't got nobody. You see, when you gender bash, all you're doing is putting a curse upon yourself, to where, and now you're not going to have a good time attracting a God-fearing partner, a real godly partner, a real partner who's going to love you for who you are and be with you throughout the good and hard times. All you're going to do is going to attract demonic people your way because you spoke death over your own self. And you're going to attract nothing but players, and people are not going to be ready to settle down with you. You're going to be 40, 50, and 60, and 70 with no partner, with no husband if you're a woman, with no wife if you're a man. You know why? Because you spoke death over your own life. You brought a curse upon your own self. You see, life and death, once again, is in the power of the tongue. You can either speak life over yourself or speak death over yourself. And when you gender bash, all you're doing is you're putting a curse upon your marital life. God had a great partner in store for you. God had a real God-fearing partner in store for you if you were just willing to follow him and surrender and repent and turn from your ways. But you see, you wanted to live life your own way, and you had to go out in the world and deal with these worldly partners. And now you see where that got you. You got you nothing but heartache, got you nothing but unfaithful people, and now look, now you're speaking curse over your life. You see how living for a world just doesn't make sense? You see how the words you have can impact your life? Many people talk about so and so not good. No, you guys are not dealing with God fearing people. 'Cause I'm gonna tell you guys from my personal life, 'cause I'm not just talking just to talk. As a follower of Christ, I have friends. I have family members who are real God fearing people, to where they fear God. They live a righteous, holy lifestyle. They pursue God. They seek His will. They're not perfect, but at least they try and they seek God. They seek to live a righteous lifestyle in front of God, lifestyles pleasing unto Him. And you know what? They all have. They have God fear. They have God fearing partners. They have partners who truly love them for who they are. I have aunts. I have friends who are God fearing people. I even have friends who are apostles. I'm talking about they are evangelists, they prophetess, and yet you know what? I don't hear them complain about all men are not good if they're women. I don't hear about real God fearing men talk about all men are not good. I don't hear real God fearing men talk about all women are not good, I should say. But you know why? Because they waited on God, they got their God fearing partner, they got a real godly person. If they're a woman, they got a real Ephesians 5 man, a real God fearing man. If they're a man, they got a real Proverbs 31 woman, a God fearing woman. And guess what? They happy. They happy as they could be. They have no regrets. They happy. Their relationship is prospering. Some of them been married for years. I'm talking about 10 plus years, some of them even more. And you know what? They all happy. I got friends who are pastors and they got God fearing wives. They got Proverbs 31 women, and guess what? They happy. They're not speaking down on women. You know why? They're not gender bashed like how some of you are on the internet. Because number one, they waited on God for their God fearing partner. And number two, they got a great partner. They didn't get no woman. For the men who I know, the God fearing men who I know, they didn't get no woman who was in a club or a woman who had to party and drink and smoke. They were real God fearing woman. And guess what? That God fearing woman, they fear the Lord and they love them for who they are. And they are happy as they can be. For the women who I know who are God fearing, they got God fearing man. And guess what? They didn't get no man who was at the parties, at the latest clubs, at the latest strip clubs, who was getting drunk all over the place, have numerous women in and out. No, they got real God fearing men. For a God fearing woman, I know they got real God fearing men. And guess what? They happy as they can be. They waited on God. You see, they got the right partner. And they met their partner in great places. We talk about churches, schools, places where you can meet where God-fearing people dwell, where you can run into a God-fearing person, where you can run into a quality partner. Not you guys who are taking up these women, these Instagram models with provocative pictures, and you take up these women who go to clubs and these bars and these girls at the night, and you women over here take up these men who have to go to parties and clubs, and you know that man got different women in and out, yet you still took him up. That's on you guys. And guess what? The God-fearing people who I know, they not cheating on their partner. Cause that's another thing. People talk about, oh, all men and all women, they cheat behind closed doors. Oh, they all cheat the opposite gender, not good. No. The God-fearing people I know, they ain't cheating on their spouse. They faithful. Their spouse trusts them so much that when they're keeping events from the church, and they gotta work with, like an opposite gender behind the scenes, I work in the program and all that. Their partners trust them. You know why? Because they know their partner don't have lust demons on them. That's another thing. You guys are dealing with people who got lust demons on them. Then you complain when those lust demons manifest, when they become unfaithful to you. What do you expect? Your partner was never delivered. They still got lust demons on them. They still got perversion on them. So what do you expect was going to happen? Of course, they was going to be unfaithful. Of course, they're going to cheat on you. Of course, heartache was going to be bound to happen. Just be thankful to God that you're still alive. You can get past it. God can deliver you, and you can move on with your life. This is a message that you could give your life to Christ, and now seek His will and wait on Him for His real blessings, and stop chasing out these worldly blessings. That's not the real blessing. It's just a counterfeit what the enemy's sending your way. And these worldly blessings, they don't last long. The world's blessings only last for a season. God's blessings last for a long time. His blessings last for eternity. So just wait on the real thing. Wait on God to bless you. And then you ain't got nothing to worry about. Just keep seeking His will, repenting, and live a lifestyle that's pleasing unto Him. And stay away from these demonic environments where demonic people dwell. These demonic environments like these clubs and these bars and these hookah lounges and these parties you guys like to go to every weekend where people are fornicating and white night stands are happening. People are drunk and smoking all over the place. Stay away from all that. Dwell in godly presence. Go to a real God-fearing church. A church where the Holy Spirit dwells. Not just any church. A church where the Holy Spirit dwells. Where the pastors walk in the commandments of God. Where the pastor, fears God. And he teaches the real gospel. Not this prosperity gospel that's around society nowadays. And then guess what? When you see you're seeking God and you ain't worried about these relationship nonsense, you'll be surprised when a God just send you a partner out of nowhere. Because another thing, people just be so focused on relationships. I've heard many people, even followers of Christ themselves, say that the moment they just let go and they start just work on themselves as a person, they just stop idolizing relationships, that's when they got their partner. That's when God sent them a partner. So you ain't got to idolize these relationships. Just sit back, wait on God. You still got time. You're not gonna, you still got time. Life is not rushing you by. It's best to wait on God. If God says wait 5 years, just wait to Him for the 5 years. Because guess what? In the end, that bus will be worth it. Rather than you run into the world, you get your heart broken. You get this false blessings real quick that only lasts for a season. Next thing you know, you gender bashing. Don't do all that. Just wait on God. Wait for a real blessing, and then keep seeking God. And you guess what? You will receive the best that He got in store for your life.